Back at this again a couple of days later. Had some other things to do here the last couple of days. Pulling this little bracket out of here, get the bolts out of it. Holds the fuel lines in place. We just give her a twist and out. And then I'm going to stick the bolts back in the hole. Buds, quit! Stick the bolts back in the hole so don't lose them. And yeah, got to get all these lines out of the way and getting ready to get these heads off. Get them to town to get them rebuilt. Then got this little thing here. This is the DPF injector. So the fuel line's coming to it, and take this off, pull this little bracket and everything off. Looks like it's not connected to anything else, so this is all going to go in the trash. And it comes along over here in the front. Fuel line ties into here. Looks like it's putting maybe a return coming out of there. Not sure why it's tied in like that, but we'll have to figure all that out as to what we can cap. Hopefully we can just cap this off. And get rid of this line here completely. Comes right out over here. And goes down to the pump down there somewhere. We'll see once the Y bridge is out. So, gonna get that out of the way. And then start pulling off injector lines. Marking them so I know where they went. So I'm guessing this here's a vacuum sensor or something. Can't be a pressure sensor because there's no pressure here on this system until after the CP4. Then our injector return line comes up through the underneath this thing, connects to that last injector, so you can see that there. And then it comes up and is zip tied on there, but it's not really connected. Goes in here, ties into this here. I'm guessing this here is a pressure regulator or something or other for that injector for the DPF. So I'm going to try to cap this off here somehow or bypass this little fitting so it just goes from here direct into here. See if I can find something like that for a line. Then get rid of this thing completely. Then that all return line comes here, ties into this little thing. And this here gets two lines coming to it. One of them's coming off of, not even sure what that is. Oh, looks like the return line that ties in the return over there. And this one here is the return off of this injector line. So everything comes together. Both sides injector returns come together, tie into the bottom of this thing. Then everything goes together into this and ties into the return line going back to the tank. So I'll be buying new return lines here for the top of the injectors. So that'll be, all that hose will be replaced. This little junction box, hopefully that comes out of there because it looks like it's kind of crimped in there. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can get that out. Otherwise maybe they come with it when you buy the return lines for it. Another example of GM and their ignorance in this. You got this bolt here is number 12, holds down the bracket for the little pressure regulator. This one here is number 13, holds down the bracket for this pressure regulator. The threads on the bolts are interchangeable. They are exactly the same size. I just screwed them into one in each other's hole. All they did was put a different size head on there so that you had to switch sockets while you're working. Yeah, not too impressed. After working on a Ford, it's so nice because everything's the same size. You just leave your number 10 socket on there and go to work and the whole engine comes apart. Not on a Duramax. So got that line right out of the way. Little banjo bolt right there. I believe that's what they call those that have the hole in the side. So I'm going to stick that back in the hole. Come on, camera. So stick that back in the hole there. It comes with its own little setup. Getting these lines out of the way, and then going to start pulling off injector lines. Pull that rail off. Got to pull the Y bridge out, and then yeah, once the Y bridge is out, then we're. Well, I guess I got this one here to pull out yet. I'm not even sure. I think that was the coolant return from the turbo, if I recall. I have to watch. Yeah, that's what it was. So we're going to pull that off, stick that bolt back in the hole. Then the manifolds come out with the head and stay on the head. So once we have the fuel rail off, manifolds will stay there till the head's off. Then once the head is off, we'll take those off and clean them up. Then, yeah, ready for the heads tomorrow because I forgot to bring some cardboard to put all the push rods and rocker arms and stuff like that onto. So my Y bridge tool. So I can reach across here. I move that band clamp. It doesn't come out of there all the way, but I can move it to where I can get at that one. Pull that out, then you can reach down in there and do the bottom too from both sides. And the bottom ones I just loosened off, if it'll focus on the darkness there. I just loosened them off, and then that Y bridge should pull out of there next. And then that band clamp can actually come right off. Since I dropped the nut for it down in the bottom there in the valley. So that'll be up next. That nut down there somewhere. And I think you can see that. No, right there. Got that loosened off, and that one there loosened off. Look how clean that is. This is the intake Y bridge, top of the Y bridge there. It's so clean. Nice. No mess. Then you look down in there, so you can get some more sunlight in there. Right where the EGR starts puking disgusting exhaust in there. It's just full of carbon and all kinds of nasty stuff. Just gross. No idea why you would want to do that to an engine. So I don't. That's why this will be gone the way of the dodo bird. Wowee, look at that tiny little spout in there. Trying to shine some light in there. Wowee, just pinched right off. Definitely need a Y bridge, but I don't want to go with the Whirly Custom because they can't keep my grid heater, and I live in the north. I need a grid heater, and they won't build me one custom, so too bad, so sad for me. Taking that, I tucked that in there already. Trying to wipe out some carbon out of the intake manifold there, but in order to take the Y bridge out, you have to take the V-band clamp off. In order to get the V-band clamp off, it sits in there like this. And I had to just kind of peel it open it up like that. Oops, not even focused here. Had to open it up like that in order to get it to come off. Just kind of slide it around because there's not enough room. So the Duramaxes look like they're nice to work on, but they're not actually that nice to work on. Ford makes everything nice and easy in there. The whole valley is just turbo pops out, everything comes apart easy. Not so much here. So we'll pull the bolt out of the coolant line from the turbo. Little nut down there in the bottom right there, coming off next. And then hopefully that line can just drop out of there. Not sure how it's secured, but we'll see. Hopefully it gets out of the way, or at least moves enough we can get it past that intake manifold once we get the head loose. And looking down in here, there's the valley, fuel lines come in. Kind of a goofy system. They put the pump runs the left side and the right side both over to the right side fuel rail. Then they have one crossover line coming from the right side fuel rail, goes down here past the pump, through the valley over there, underneath the turbo, and goes over to the right hand rail. And there's only one line going to the right hand rail, but the left hand rail has two lines going to it. Kind of a goofy setup in my opinion. Oh, and then the pressure relief PSV, pressure safety valve, is only on the left hand rail. So whatever, I guess. That's how they did it, and they figured it worked. So here's the helper crew come out. We got the secretary writing on the duct tape. Supposed to be marking up the duct tape. There's the Mr. Helper. And we're going to mark up all the injector lines with duct tape so we know which one goes where, so we don't have to try and figure it out later from which side. Then I got high pressure rail, pulling those off. Going to mark those lines as well, just to kind of keep things simpler later. I'm going to put them in a little toolbox over there to keep them semi-clean while we're got this truck apart. A little heat coolant line did not come out of the bottom. Pulled that nut off, but it didn't help anything. It's secured pretty good underneath the turbo, so hopefully we can pull the head off and the intake manifold out of the way without that line out of the way. If not, we'll pull the turbo, I guess, if we have to. And it looks like the turbo does not have a pedestal. Kind of a pain. Would be nice if you didn't have to undo the up pipes, but it all bolts up right there to the bottom of the turbo. To the driver's side again. Pull that little bolt out. Gonna undo these fuel clips. I've got the little kit to pull those apart. Put something in these hoses. Fuel lines going back to the tank, and the return and the suction. Then got one bolt right there. And then find some way to pull this apart up here somewhere. Looks like another holder here. And where's the other one? something going to be holding the other one yet. Oh, they're just held together in here. So get those out of the way, hopefully. Oh, there's another one right there holding the fuel line on. And then that goes down in the valley and onto the back of the pump, or goes over to the filter there. So we'll be taking that out, and that way we can get at these injectors, get these injector lines off, get this PCV system out of the way, and injector's got to come out here pretty quick.